Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crispy Reviews Podcast. I'm your host, Cody, and today I've got a special guest with me. His name is Adam. What's up, Adam? How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on here, Cody.
Yes, awesome. So, Adam, we actually have you on here today because you went to something really special this past weekend. What was that?
I went to Bourbon and Beyond out in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes. All right, Bourbon and Beyond. So, that festival is very interesting to me because the lineup is very diverse. There's a lot of different genres kind of happening all at once. So we have Zach Bryan, Dave Matthews Band, Tyler Childers, Sting, Beck, Matchbox 20, The National, My Morning Jacket, The War on Drugs, Whiskey Myers, Cody Jinks. We have Black Pumas, The Beach Boys, Mount Joy, Fleet Foxes, Young the Giant, The Head and the Heart, Teddy Swims, and many more that we'll probably go over here shortly. But as you can tell just from those titles alone, there's at least 3 or 4 different genres that were listed there that are not all the same. So you've got, some throwbacks, like we have Sting, who's performing there. We got jam band called My Morning Jacket. They were there as well. And then early 2000s indie band, The National, was there along with Beck. Beck is an awesome rock and roll guy as well, too, from the late 90s, early 2000s. And then Dave Matthews Band and Matchbox 20, also in that pop rock kind of era in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it's pretty interesting and diverse lineup. And even the Beach Boys, the Beach Boys were there too. So I bet, that was pretty special as well. So that's just what we have kind of going off of this lineup here. So Adam, you were saying earlier to me before we started this podcast that it is a 4-day music festival, but however, you didn't make it into the first day until Friday, and that's A-okay, so don't worry about that. So who did you get to see on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Let's go ahead and go into that.
So when it came down to Friday, since I had a drive, so I had to start driving Thursday at about 10:30 at night and drove about 12 hours by myself to get there. Wasn't easy. Had to do 2 stops just to help rest up. But when I got there, it was about 4 o'clock. So our group and I got to the festival around 5 o'clock. We were able to, I want to say the Red Clay Strays played around 5:30 or 6. And they were on the Yonder stage. So they were a little off to the side. But we were able to see them play on Friday. And then after that, we walked around the fairgrounds for a little bit until Dave Matthews came on. And Dave Matthews drew in quite the crowd too, which I wouldn't expect at a festival like that, which was very diverse, was seen to lean towards more of the country and folk side. Yeah. But for that, I was only really able to see Red Clay and then Dave Matthews. But I do think Dave Matthews put on quite a show. But Red Clay drew in a pretty big crowd themselves too for just being a side stage.
Yeah, a side stage act.
Mm-hmm. Very good to see live too.
Yes, they're having a big pull right now. I would say it's probably due to TikTok and stuff, right? I believe some of their songs kind of went viral on TikTok, so that kind of really pushed them to the forefront. And for this festival to be able to book them, that's pretty big. But you were about to say?
I was going to say, I think Red Clay, they have been getting a lot of recognition. I could be wrong with this. I think they just did a tour with Rolling Stones, or they were with one of the really big older bands. So that also to be, contributing to how big they've been getting.
Okay, that's big. Yeah, I mean, for them to open for somebody like the Rolling Stones, that's monumentous. That's absolutely gigantic. So that's really great exposure for somebody like them, and they're very talented too. I've checked out some of their stuff as well.
They have that very good, very good, Southern charm music to it, but they also add more of a modern sound with it too. So that makes it's a good feel altogether. Very good energy watching them play live.
And it just kind of meshes live, especially in a festival atmosphere such as Bourbon and Beyond and stuff. Amazing. Okay.
Yes.
So that was your main Friday. You got to see. You said you got to see Dave Matthews Band. You saw the Red Clay Strays. Actually, the Red Clay Strays, they went on at 7:05 p.m. So that was was the first act you got to see.
Yes, actually, it does sound a little right.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds a little correct.
Got you.
I was very tired that day when we
I bet
got
from all
there
the
too.
driving, right?
Yeah, I was so ready to just get going.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was on maybe 1 hour of sleep that whole day. But when I
Jesus
got to see
Christ.
the music live and taste some of the bourbon that they had there,
Yep.
was just giving me that energy to just go and watch people perform.
Yes. That's wonderful. So you got the extra lubricant that you needed from the bourbon, and so you can go up beyond, above and beyond
Yes,
on that 1 hour of sleep.
yes, and
It's all in the
Kentucky
title.
bourbon.
It's all in the title.
But
That's
it
how it
it do-
flows.
it works too. Their bourbon is delicious. I tried so many,
Yeah.
but I can get into a little later what my favorite one was because
Excellent.
one of
Actually, yeah, let's go into that now. So, what was your first impressions like walking into the festival grounds and stuff? You said earlier it was outside of the city, correct? So,
yes.
what was the setting like? Like, can you describe the area? Was it very scenic, or was it not as pretty, or
Oh
how where
no,
what was the location?
it was right on the edge of it's right by the bridge where Louisville and Clarksville meet up. So it's right on the border of Indiana. So it's
Okay,
right on the guess you could say it's the outskirts, but not really because we were still by a lot of the main central city parts. But the
okay,
area itself wasn't too bad. I would say parking was quite the trip.
mm,
So, because of how condensed the city area was, a lot of people were doing Ubers. And if
yeah,
you weren't doing Ubers, you were trying to find spots to park
to
at
park.
right outside of the city. So each time we got lucky and we found this subway that was lending out their parking lot for about $20 to $30. I think we paid thirty
For the
dollars on
day.
Saturday. Yeah, just for the
Okay,
day. So but the
not
walk
too
itself
terrible.
was maybe about 10 minutes from the fairgrounds or the convention area that we were going to watch Bourbon and Beyond at. Um, Leaving was quite the issue just because a lot of people, especially on
Bottlenecking, right?
Saturday, yeah,
Yeah.
they got very condensed. So leaving took about maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to get out of the parking lot. And
Wow.
even when you're out of the parking lot, you still have to deal with foot traffic and people directing and traffic jams.
Mm.
It would find ourselves just sitting in the car for a while after the events ended. But
Yeah.
for the convenience factor, it was very close to where we parked at, which we were very grateful for, so that we were able to park our cars and then get right into the festival. They did have a few liquor stores that were on the way too, which
All
were
right.
very good to grab because of the festival prices are kind of absurd for drinks.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely experienced that myself at Riot Fest. I was very shocked how quickly that bill ran up on Friday for me because
Yes.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, have some money set aside for drinks and whatnot. I blew through that money just in one day at Riot Fest, and I was like, what the hell, dude? Like, why is a beer $18? Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe
Dang.
it. Yeah. How much
Yeah.
was a beer out there for y'all?
um, so we were getting mainly seltzers if we weren't getting anything liquor related, and I believe they were going for about $15 to $16 before tip.
Okay.
For the bourbon and mixed drinks, they were a minimum of 18. So it would
Okay.
start at 18 if you wanted it just straight, on the rocks with no mixers. If you wanted to add a mixer to it, it went up to about $21.
Jesus
And that
Christ.
also doesn't include the tax and the fee that they put on with the festival, which would put about each drink being about $24 to $25 each.
Wow. Yeah.
But
No, it sounds very similar to Riot Fest pricings as well because the like you were saying like the seltzers and stuff like that those were around like 12 to 14 bucks depending on which one you were wanting because they had one that had lesser ABV and then they had ones that were higher in ABV like 8% and those ones were on the higher end like around $14.
mm,
But yeah, it does sound very similar. If you wanted like you were saying, like the shots or something like that, like two shots of something, it was going to be somewhere around like 25 bucks. So yeah, very similar. It's crazy though. Very
mm,
expensive. But yeah,
Bill will rack up.
yeah, the bill will rack up, unfortunately. But you were saying that you were able to hit some of the liquor stores and stuff beforehand. Were you able to sneak it in, or how was security? Was security pretty tight?
So, um, we went all 3 days. We stopped at the liquor store, and we were getting just shooters that we could take.
Yeah,
However, we didn't want to really risk it just because we knew if we tried sneaking it in, we could probably risk not being allowed entry at all or
yeah,
just everything getting taken away. So what we were doing is since we had about a 10-minute walk, we were just taking our shooters on the way there. But
nice.
later when we went into the festival, we noticed that especially on Friday, security was very almost seemed lackluster.
Yeah,
Like so you have to go through the on Friday when we went there, you just have the metal detector and they just tell you to take out your pocket, everything out of your pockets and you walk through. When I did that, the woman at the gate, she just told me to put myself through and she didn't even look over anything, see if the detector went off. She just turned her back and went to the next person and didn't come back to check on me. And I even just for a precaution sat there for about like 5 extra seconds of like, do you need anything
yeah,
else? And she didn't pay attention.
yeah,
So we thought about like, well, security didn't really seem to care. So
yeah,
then on Saturday we had the idea maybe we could, do it again with our shooters, but we decided not to. But then that's when we realized that day they had extra security, maybe because it was Zach Bryan and he was
yeah.
headlining on Saturday,
They
so they
had a
had more
bigger
people there.
they had a bigger presence because it was oversold out actually.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah.
they actually had a you went through the metal detector and then they also had people there with the wand and then they're doing quick pat downs and
Oh
also going
wow.
through there.
So they
So they
went
were
full
patting
like
down
TSA
shoes.
mode. Yeah.
Yes, but weird they didn't do that on Friday nor Sunday too. Like both the only thing for Saturday,
It
which
so I what I would like to say, I mean, I don't have any insider information if this is factual or not, but from
mm,
what I've learned through the internet and understanding like logistics, basically on those days where they're oversold out, they have to have a major security presence due to the amount of people that are coming into the festival, and they want to make sure that all systems are checked and accounted for, and that includes each and every single person coming into the festival, making sure that there's no weapons, no anything like that. They don't want anything to happen, of course, from their
well,
access
yeah,
points for those people coming and going from the fest. And that was my other question that I was going to ask. Did this festival allow you to be able to come and go as you please, or was it more just once you're in the festival, that's it? You're not allowed to like leave
once
and
you're
then
in,
come
you
back.
can't leave,
Okay.
which a lot of people seem to really complain about because
Yeah.
of just any issues of like, what if you have to help one of your friends or do an inconvenience where you have to leave and come back? But for their reason, they didn't really allow a re-entry. So they even had it posted on their FAQ thing on their website. It says once you're in, and no re-entry will be allowed under any circumstances.
Good.
But
Okay.
in my personal opinion, I feel like I could be a little stupid because why wouldn't you want to, what if you had an emergency and you had to leave and come back? Like, why couldn't you just go through security again? But, maybe it's
Yeah.
due to like once you scan a ticket or your wristband, maybe someone could have handed that back under a different person. They couldn't check under that.
Usually that's the case. They just don't. It's usually to cover their bases and stuff, making sure that like people aren't like leaving and bringing something in that they shouldn't be bringing in, such as a weapon or whatnot. Or it could be if you're laundering a ticket to somebody else to be able to go in. It helps them try to control that kind of stuff. There's other music festivals out there that do allow like music entries and stuff over and over again, such as like Shaky Knees or Bonnaroo. I know Bonnaroo for sure. Like you're allowed to come and go as much as you want, but that's only because that's a camping music festival, and they do a deep security check of your entire vehicle before you even get into the campground itself, and from there you can just come and go from the campground and the festival. So that's the only reason why you're able to do that. It's a more controlled atmosphere.
Mm,
Whereas with the City Fest that you were attending, and such as mine, I wasn't allowed to come and go either at Riot Fest.
that's
So
very understandable in that
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. But however, for VIP at my festival, if you had a VIP ticket, you were allowed to come and go. But they had like
Yeah.
a wristband. We did not have wristbands. It was like a mobile ticket that was on our phone that you had to scan in every single time.
Mm,
So yeah. How was it for you guys? Did you get an actual wristband or was it more of an e-ticket?
yeah. So for us,
Since we had the 4 day general admission, they shipped in the
mail Euro wristbands, and
The wristband.
I'll probably,
Okay.
yeah, and I'll probably be able to send a photo of it too because mine's all cut up now just because the way the wristband works is that once you put it on, you can't take it off until the festival's over.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Traditional
safety
band.
things on it, and I wish I knew that prior because the
first
first
Oh.
day I put it on my 1 hour sleep, I just put it on as
tight as I could because I was just in a rush. And then when I
Oh.
asked my friend, I was like, "Hey, how do I take this off?" He's like, "Oh, you can't."
it's on the phone until the festival's over, and I'm like, oh my, this is like tight on
My
Yeah.
wrist, and it's gonna be like this until Sunday night. Like I can't do
Yep.
anything about it.
Was this your first music festival or
Yeah, actually it was. For my first
really?
music fest,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Holy cow. All right. Well, congrats. I
Good.
mean, that's huge, dude. So, yeah, I mean, you basically went through the first time anxieties of the I call it the Chinese choker. So, like if you do it all the way up, then yeah, it's choking your wrist the entire time. And if you put it on the wrong hand, like your non-dominant, like you should put it on
Yeah,
your non-dominant hand. If you put it on your dominant hand, that's your wiping hand, you know? So,
yeah. No, I did put it on my left hand,
Fan, or I think
yeah.
my friend
put
put
it
it
on for me when we were in a rush.
Yeah.
But just like, because it's like I said, we
right when I got to the hotel. I had
maybe about an hour and a half or less to just decompress from my drive, eat, and change and get ready for the festival. So in that
Amazing.
time frame, that's where I just threw everything on. I was ready to go.
Perfect. Well, that's great. I mean, so I love this even more knowing now that this was like your actual first music fest and stuff. So I really want to know now, like after you've done this festival, what is your thoughts on seeing bands at a music festival, whereas going to a concert? Do you feel like going to a music festival is a lot more anxiety inducing, like it's just a little too much, or do you feel like a concert is just like the sweet spot where it's only like a quarter day experience, where you get to go and just kind of see who you want to see and go home?
Um, that's a good question. I would say I'm mixed on how the festival thing is, but that's only for certain aspects. So
Sure.
I really enjoy listening to music, and one thing I really like is interaction with the artist, and like also talking and singing to really get with the crowd or seeing like they're really enjoying it. But I'm pretty sure just because they're on festival set times, they can't really do that. The only ones that could do that were the main headliners because they were the main ones. They had the longest time set, so they could do whatever they wanted. But for the other ones, like they just seem to really just power through sets with maybe minimal, just like quick, like acknowledging the crowd and the mid break of saying, thanks for coming out and this is who's playing what. We got one more song. I did really enjoy the overall experience of how you could just do whatever you wanted there. Because they had a bunch of the tents and areas set up to where you could go shopping in the general area.
to get the alcohol
You
you
wanted there. They also had the
hydration stations, just hangout stations, food
areas
They had a Zen stand.
stand
Yeah.
there to where, yeah,
Which is perfectly marketed for this festival. I mean, come on, half of the
yeah.
I bet over half the crowd use that product, so that's just perfect product placement,
I have a video where we took from how many Zins we got because there was a thing you could do where there, at the Zin tent, if you show your ID and show your legal age to get tobacco or nicotine products, they were selling each Zin can for $1, and you had a maximum of three per person. And since there's four of us in our group and two of us in our group didn't do Zins, we gave all of our packets to our two other friends that did Zins, and they were just like Zin Max and just stacking them all
all
up.
up, and they just had so much on them that they're even like putting them in their boots or pant legs, just wherever they had them.
I'm pretty sure Airbnb was just covered with Zin cans all over the place, and just how many there were there. But
Golly.
apart from like the Zin and stuff too, I did really enjoy all the tents that they had there. It really felt like you could do a lot of different stuff there, and not just be limited to just only watching music. Which I always thought that's what festivals were like. Just you're there for music and that's it. when I saw more of their lineups of like interactive entertainment areas and even workshops and like watching like Q&As of people talk, it made it seem more lively and like, okay, we're in this like community together.
Yeah. So I would say you're definitely on the money with that statement and everything. And it sounds like you had a really good first experience with the music festival in general, you know, being able to wander and experience all these different vendors and just overall like the experience around it, you know, being able to have freedom of choice, you know, to go to whichever set that you want to go see and stuff. So like it definitely gives you a sense of what it's like the community and how it is. So that's
Mm,
cool. That's really cool. So I guess from there, like, would you say that where the ticket price is at for these music festivals, for this one in particular, how do you feel that it compares to like a concert by itself? So let's take for example Zach Bryan. I know Zach Bryan. He's done a couple tours now. Do you feel that the price of the music festival compared to a price of a ticket to see him just at his own tour, do you feel it's comparable, or do you feel like it's more of a value for the
value,
festival? Is value. Okay.
value all the
I
way.
yes, I would agree. I think more people should gravitate towards music festivals because of the value. You get the best bang for your buck. You get to see a lot of amazing acts, even upcoming ones that are in the same genre or field. And you know, from there you just kind of build that fan basis even further, understand who the community is, and people travel from all over the world to see these things, you know. So I think it's really special, and more people should be
Yeah,
leaning towards music festivals.
they did one of the tents that we had that I'll send it to where we did like one of our photo booths at where
Yeah,
like you could just like they have like their little camera stand set up and you can hold props or wear wigs or whatever. They
yeah,
had a map on their wall of where you pin down where you were, and that's where you're visiting from to see the festival at. And I wish I took a photo of the map, but the furthest one I saw was someone came from Canada just to
from
see this
Canada.
music
Okay,
festival. Yeah,
nice.
they and people as far west as California came out. It
Yep.
seems very central to Kentucky, though, and Tennessee, as where everybody came from. So mainly those two states brought most of whoever marked that map to come over there. But the
Yeah,
scene as far north as Canada and like Minnesota over there was quite impressive. Just to know that a festival like this could draw this much people into it. And I believe it was for just the lineup that they had too, and for the price of the tickets, because it seems fairly priced for what it was.
yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that that's really interesting that they had that map and everything for you to be able to actually see and get some type of like consensus of like, oh shit, like, you know, a majority of these people are mainly around here, but there are people coming from all over America for this event, you know, and it makes you feel like you're at a happening thing, you know, something that's a little bit bigger than just a local concert or something, you know. So
Mm.
that is cool. I'm glad that you got to see that. You know, that's special.
Oh, it was very awesome to see.
Yeah. So how was like? I'll probably have to look up a map or something and insert a map, probably in this part. But for how the stages were set up and stuff, was there any sound bleed from the stages, or how was it there? How many stages were there? First off, should I say? I should say that.
So as far as I can remember, for like main stages, they had I can't remember. It could have I think it's like Barrel and Oak may have been the main stages or one of those where they're right next to each other. But
Yeah.
they had whoever was playing on the main stages were alternating, which made sense. Let's say Zach Bryan played on like the main stage to the left. Directly next to it was another stage, and then the one person I was playing right before him was on that stage, and they were just alternating through that. Then they
Okay.
had the stage on the far back, the yonder stage, and that was where like the second headliner was playing at, which I believe during Zach Bryan, I want to say it was like Young the Giant,
Young the
but
Giant. Okay.
yeah, but for that, and then they also had a workshop stage, which was like near the very back, and that's where they did a lot of like Q and A's and just talking about like whoever was there. I think There's a comedian now. I want to say Jim Gaffigan. Is that his name?
What day was this guy on? Saturday?
I want to say Sunday for him.
Sunday?
Yeah,
Let me
Sunday.
let me check.
He was on the workshop stage or one of the
The
stages in
workshop
the very back.
stage. Yeah, so it looks like they had chefs and stuff too. There was a chef
Yeah.
on the workshop stage. Liquid Legends, so they did like a tasting and trends on Sunday
Yeah.
as well too. Let's see, from Boston to Bourbon, another chef flavor fusion thing. Oh, comedy. Here we go. So comedy and craftsmanship with Jim Gaffin.
Yeah. So we got there right after, or I think it was a band that we wanted to see, so we didn't really navigate over to them anyway.
Okay.
So yes, for the stages though, there wasn't any bleed. I believe they were spaced out very well,
Nice.
where you couldn't really hear anything that was going on.
That's absolutely perfect.
It
Yeah,
worked out very well.
I can't stand it when there's we had this problem at Riot Fest, unfortunately. So on Sunday, you have the big main two stages, right? It's kind of like the same setup you were just saying with the Oak and Barrel, where it's just like two big stages side by side each other, right? And then as soon as one artist plays on this stage, they finish, the next artist goes on here, right? So it's just back and forth like that, you know? So there's another set of two stages that's actually further from these, right? And they're faced the same direction as the other two stages. So they're like directly in a line of each other, right? So you got Sunday night, you got Slayer playing on the main stage, right? Loud as possible, going crazy, you know, that thrash metal just absolutely blasting. And then directly in line from that, the stage that I was standing at was Sublime. And all you're hearing is, and then Sublime like, loving what I got. And I'm like, this is not a good mashup right now. This feels like I mix drinks and I'm about to like.
That is a good way to describe that. Sounds like you're just playing two songs at once and just different tempos and different sound levels is going to make you nauseous.
Yeah, no, it only worked out because Sublime later like was able to turn up their audio for those speakers and it drowned out what you could hear from the Slayer stage, thankfully. So it made it worth like sticking around hearing the last few songs and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that there was no sound bleed for your stages. Yeah.
As far as I know, the way that they had it set up, the two main stages were facing about like this way. And then the yonder stage, which was where they had the side headliners, was facing like this way. So the sound
it's perpendicular.
was that. Yeah, they're
okay.
not like intertwining with each other.
Yeah. All right. So let's finish out where you got to go and see. So you talked a bit about Friday, and let's hear about Saturday. What time did you get to the fest on Saturday? Was it midday or what time did you get there?
We woke up in the morning and we did our usual routine of getting dressed, and then we weren't expecting it to be too busy, so we went and got food for about an hour, and then after that we went to the festival around, I want to say 2:30, 3 o'clock.
2:30.
And yeah, by that point already, it was already a nightmare. It was so packed that early, mainly just because of Zach Bryan. Because our plan is that we want to get there, and we actually have a friend who looks just like Zach Bryan, like almost identical, that we wanted to try to be like, hey, let's try to get as close as we can, so we can be like, hey, this is literally your twin right here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. By 3 o'clock, the entire stage row just for where he was playing at was full, going outside of its section too, into like the gravel area and almost the road area.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
This was like even 7 hours before we started playing.
Wow. And that was like right when you first got in, it was that busy, like for that stage, or that was later that night for Zach Bryan?
That was during the day that it was already that jam packed.
So that was before he was even on. Yeah.
When nightfall came, we were let's just say we were lucky that we were where we were. We still felt very far away, but just because of how much people were there, it was almost impossible to navigate. I'm pretty sure that they broke a record for most people ever attended at that like fairground or convention area ever. and they do have a photo on their social from that night of how jam packed it was. And
Yeah.
if you were to look at the photo, um, we're probably, I want to say we're well over like maybe, I can't even
I
describe
was
it.
able
Like,
to pull up the photo right now, actually. So let me
yeah,
share this photo right here, actually. So yeah, here's what you're talking about.
yeah. So
That's
if
people there.
yeah, so if you're looking at that,
That centerpiece in the middle that you're seeing, we're
Yeah,
probably about 100 feet back from that. And Zach Bryan was playing on the stage
on the right,
on this one.
and
Okay, so the one right
yeah,
here on the right side. Okay,
yeah, the one on the right is where he was
right here.
playing at.
that, and yeah,
Where you see that centerpiece at,
Uh
we
huh.
were about a
This
hundred
piece.
feet or more behind that. Yeah.
So like
So
way back over here.
yeah,
Wow.
we still had a great view just from his screens up there, and luckily there wasn't any really tall
Yeah.
or obnoxious people in front of us. But yeah, it was a very leaving that night was the nightmare. We
Yeah.
um we had plans that we wanted to go out to bars after that because it was like, oh, let's just keep continuing our night and having fun. But just the traffic to leave from there and getting stuck in a White Castle drive-through ate so much time out that we were just like, let's just hang out in the Airbnb and relax for the next day. But
Wow.
that photo almost doesn't do enough justice to
Oh
what it's like to
no.
be in
Yeah.
that
Like
crowd.
this looks like you're looking at a sandbox, but every piece of grain of person, is a person. So
I
it's
I
crazy.
almost I almost wondered where Young the Giant I think was playing at in the back right corner. If even people were just there just to stand to see if they could see Zach Bryan from where they were at, because a lot of people were there mainly just for him, for the
Yeah.
price that they sold the tickets at and everything was just ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't not go there because it's cheaper than going to an actual concert in your city to go see him.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at these comments here on the right hand side of this post, I mean, we got WV underscore gal underscore goes. She wrote, "We've been to over 100 concerts and 8 music festivals. This was, hands down, the most poorly controlled crowd we've ever seen. The artists were amazing, but the setup and the crowd controlling are just not worth it." We also have
Yeah,
somebody else here below that saying today was, in all caps, not safe. I went to Woodstock 1999 and have been to many festivals and concerts in the last almost 30 years since. But today I left early for the first time ever. We have VIP tickets, which have been lovely the last 2 days, but today were a joke. This was so heavily oversold, and clearly the organizers were not prepared or organized to handle this crowd. We were caught up in a seawall of people, and it was legitimately scary. The music we saw was nothing short of amazing, but the rest was a shit show. So
yeah,
there you have it.
that
So
does
oversold is
describe.
the word for it.
And if you're looking at it too, if I'm
pretty correct. The far left and far right were the VIP areas. So
Yes,
the
right
far
down
left
up
is
front, right?
yeah, the far left is where the VIP people would go, and they actually had their chairs and everything to go see them play there. And then where
Wow.
those neon lights are in the bottom right was also another VIP section.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's very packed in. I again, logistically, I don't like it when festivals have setups like this where they prioritize VIP like that and separate GA so far back. I think VIP needs to be a little bit smaller of an area. But however, as you can see from this photo, even the VIP section is completely full for Zach Bryan. Like this is
Yeah,
oversold. I mean, there's some space over here on the far left. I don't know if you can see my cursor floating over this, but yeah, like there's some space over here, but nobody wants to go all the way over there because it's going to be a logistical nightmare to be able to exit and leave,
yeah.
like for
Just
that
to leave,
VIP person.
that was the day that we left. That made it very chaotic. But the other days weren't really like that. Sunday's headliner was Tyler Childers, and he was very entertaining to watch. I love his just overall folk, country music, all that put together. That had a really good crowd to it. Seemed a lot more calm than Zach Bryan's, mainly just because, you know, Zach Bryan brings in a hectic crowd just because people love his music. And
Yeah.
like the overall hype that he's been getting within these last few years and all that. But for Tyler, it just felt like, you know, you could resonate and just feel like you're, because he is, I'm pretty sure, from Kentucky, so it almost felt like a hometown crowd to him.
Yeah.
And he's a very, his character as a person too, he's very, you know, caring, loving, kind-hearted. So he kept interacting with the crowd and talking to them, and he actually stopped the songs a few times because there'd be people that would pass out, and he'd make sure that they get help, and then he would continue to perform it again.
That's good that he was able to do that. There's a lot of artists that'll just keep playing or play through, but it seems to be more of a common thing that artists are recognizing that the crowd needs attention or help, and you know those people that need that attention, they have to be the ones to call it out because it's so loud at these festivals and stuff. Like it's going to be impossible for a medic to be able to come and find that person. And so if they can
Oh
stop
yeah,
the show just for a moment and say, hey, they're down up front here, passed out, like have them help, you know, and then reset your stuff and then start over again. So that way that person gets the attention they need and they can be assisted and helped. And then the show can go on for everybody else and they can have a good time.
on a Sunday too, they also had Beach Boys performing, and they performed around like 4 o'clock or a little like after that, and
Mm-hmm.
they drew in quite the crowd for them too. Just
Yep,
for
4
Beach
o'clock
Boys to
here, the
come
barrel
to,
stage.
yeah, right next to it, and their crowd was quite crazy too, size wise, and they
Size
brought a
wise.
lot of the older crowd in, and even
Wow.
for people like their age, he
Yeah.
just brought nothing but good vibes and seemed like you could just have a good time around him. It really felt like no one was really glued to their phones at these festivals. Everyone was kind of living in the moment, which is what I really like whenever I go to any concert or event. So I feel like a lot of it gets drowned out by the social media craze of you have to record an entire concert. Where for something like this, it felt like I was able to groove down and just dance and be myself and let energy come out. Even the same for Zach Bryan and Tyler. There wasn't really a lot of people that were just not interacting. Everyone was very fully into the festival going on.
Interesting. Yeah, so what you're saying is like you had different types of people that were in the crowd that were like either with what was going on and they were actually social, interactive, having fun, you know, expressive, and then there's other people that are just kind of standing there and, you know, just trying to watch the show and they're kind of more or
Yeah,
less annoyed probably. Yeah.
but even then, you have to give respect because they're just at least, you know, there to enjoy the moment, even if they're not just attached to their phone or something else. They're, you know, there to enjoy what's in front of them. And I got a
Yeah.
lot of that energy from this festival, which made it very much more. I wanted to keep interacting. I wanted to keep dancing and singing my heart out to all these songs that were playing.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly how it should be, like at the music festival and stuff. And it's sad that there's so many people that just can't put the phone down for a little bit and, you know, just live life and enjoy it for the moment, you know? So I
Mm,
agree with you. It kind of like, I call it like crowd killing. I know crowd killing has like multiple different terms now, but crowd killing, it's just like where you're just like very absent minded. You're removing yourself from the situation and stuff just for what, you know, like you should be there and live in the moment. Like you paid the money, you traveled however far you traveled to be there for that specific moment. You know, you should
yeah,
live it and absolutely like embrace it, you know, absolutely come out of it ahead and happy, you know. You spent all that
yeah,
money and time getting there, might as well.
yeah. Fully enjoy what you paid your money for, and because you know moments like these they don't come often, especially music festivals where you can see all your favorite artists in one spot.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing I could like talk about in a future episode or something where you know, maybe people feel indifferent or differently about music festivals now. They think that they're like a dime a dozen, you know, they're all over America, so I can go see whoever I want whenever I want type thing. So
I
maybe
will
there's
say
like a sense of privilege or something.
I've noticed, and that even looking at your socials, I learned about all these music festivals coming mainly just from them, and I'm like, oh my god, there's another one that's popping up, and this one seems like it's going to be just as crazy, or this one seems lackluster. I can go see this one instead because there's more artists I want to see. Kind of how
Yeah.
we came up to Bourbon and Beyond because They have another music festival that's playing next week there too. I think is it Louder Than Life or
Yes, yeah, Louder and Life is coming up. Is that the same location? I wasn't
yep,
aware of that
that's the
actually.
exact area. Because a lot of the vendors were like when we're making small talk and like, well, we'll be here again next week. So if you want to come see us, we will be there.
Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, so Louisville, Kentucky. Here we go. So it is Louder Than Life.
So
Okay,
who are
damn.
their headliners for that one?
Who's headlining for that? So it looks like Slipknot is playing on Thursday. That's the only date that they have up right there. I don't know if they have. Where's like the whole lineup? Here. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. Here we go. So yeah, we got. Oh wow. So Slayer, this is their second show because this was their first show back at Riot Fest. That was their first show back in 5 years. So you got Slipknot, you got The Offspring on Thursday. You know, a few other bands there. Sum 41 on Thursday as well. Ooh, Pup is on that too. I love Pup. But yeah, Friday you got Slayer, Anthrax, Evanescence, Wake Me Up, Tom Morello from Rage
Or not,
Against the
yeah, Rage
Machine.
Against the Machine.
Yeah, yep. Motley Crue, Falling in Reverse, Disturbed, Skillet, Sleeping with Sirens, Mastodon. Holy cow. Mastodon was absolutely nuts seeing them at Riot Fest this past weekend. I can't wait to talk more about that. And then Sunday with Korn, you got
So
Freak
things
on a
are
Leash.
it's a very grunge metal rock fest going
New
on
metal,
here.
yeah. You got some new metal, you got some metal, you got some punk. You got a lot of fun stuff on this bill. So that's cool that they just keep the same setup. That's probably what they do. They just keep the same setup and then the bands just change out. So instead of Bourbon Beyond type bands, it's now all these type bands, you know, the heavy metal scene. So
Changes the whole vibe up from what last week was.
yeah, for real, for real. I mean,
I
Bourbon and Beyond is definitely more of like a relaxing, peaceful kind of setting, you know. Whereas
it
this one is definitely going to be way more abrupt, mosh pit, mud pit, whatever you want
well
to call it.
this at first this lineup for Bourbon and Beyond got a little bit of backlash because if you look at who's played at Bourbon and Beyond in recent years, they've never
Yeah,
done a country music festival. It was mainly just like R&B or rock music, and
yeah,
they changed up a lot of it within just this year alone. But even then, I feel like this is still a good shift just because, you can diversify your music. You don't have to do the same type of music for every festival.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's completely okay to keep switching up and, you know, testing the waters, like seeing what type of music festival that you are and what you can draw in. That's mainly what
Mm,
it's all about. It's more about the logistics and the ticket sales, you know. So obviously, you know, they saw that there was a good market there for Zach Bryan and Dave Matthews and stuff. They definitely know that those bands bring in a bigger crowd. And some of these other bands that they had on the bill too, like I still feel like it pays homage to what they used to do with their lineup as well. You know, having like bands like Beck or My Morning Jacket, The National,
that's
Black Pumas. You know, those are all bands that they used to used to book for these lineups. Even like Dinosaur Jr. is on here too, and Sunny Day Real Estate. That you know, Sunny Day Real Estate. That's an emo rock band. So
oh yeah.
yeah,
My biggest complaint, and this is just a self complaint to myself. One of my all time favorite artists is Beck, and he
is
played on
Beck?
day one. Yes, one of my all time favorite, and I was so sad that I wasn't able to see him on Thursday because I even told my group I was up with, I'm like, if we're going, that's who I'm seeing only on Thursday. That is someone I've been dying to see live.
Oh man,
And I got a chance, I missed him just by one day.
you will be able to see him sometime soon. Trust me, he'll be back
Yeah,
in the festival circuit probably again really soon.
what seems to suck about him is that he doesn't really do tours anymore. Like right now, or before he started doing all this, he did like a little summer thing, but he was doing like, he does like orchestra now. Because he's,
Yeah, he did have a little like orchestra thing that was going on at the time. I'm not sure. I don't think he did that for his live set at Riot Fest, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, here's him on the orchestral tour. So
Yeah,
it
which
looks
I would
great.
love to see that too, because he has an album, the Morning Phase album, which is
Yeah,
primarily an orchestra album, and one of my favorites to listen to him too. Because right now he's not really much of like he's still an artist, but he's more of a songwriter now. So if you notice, he writes a lot of music for artists, and he will produce for them too. So he's kind of gone back from making his own music to just being a full on writer. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure day after Bourbon, he went and played at another festival.
Yeah, he played at the festival I was at Riot Fest. He came up to Riot Fest and headlined on Saturday.
Oh no, that's what. Oh, that must have been fun to
Yep.
watch.
Let me show you that one. So this is what I was at this past weekend here. So it was Fall Out Boy, Beck, Pavement, Slayer, The Offspring, Saint Vincent, Rob Zombie, Public Enemy. Bright Eyes dropped from the bill last minute. That sucked. Sublime was there. Dr. Dog. The Marley Brothers, Bob Marley Experience. Absolutely chef's kiss. It was beautiful. Had a good time at that. Sum 41, Cypress Hill, Newfound Glory. So it's a good mix of like punk, indie, and rock and roll,
Yeah,
alternative.
Fall Out Boy being in there too.
Yeah, they actually did a really cool set, like a Chicago hometown set where they kind of went through each album, like playing their best hits from each album, from their very first album all the way up to their most current album. And they actually brought out the lead singer from what's that one band called? It's gonna escape me now. Rise Against. So they brought out the lead singer from Rise
cool.
Against. Yeah, he's a Chicago local as well, and they did a song together on stage, and everybody went bananas. It was an absolute awesome, sick time, dude. So it was like a big Chicago homecoming. It felt like it was definitely one for the
Fall
books.
Out Boy last year when they played at the amphitheater, and I thought that their set was pretty fun too because they play a lot of songs, and because they have shorter songs, but they were able to fit a huge set list in there. And they kind of did like surprise songs too, where they just change up what they're going to play in like the middle of their set or whatever. And every song that they're playing was almost very well known, and you could sing along to it. It was energetic.
No, yeah, like you're definitely on the money with that. Like they definitely have a lot of songs that are awesome, and you can sing along with it. It's very special about Fall Out Boy. So yeah, I mean, this lineup, it was really cool. It was great to see him, and that's where Beck went to, I believe, after he played on Thursday. He might have did another festival or something. I'm not 100% certain on that. It doesn't look like he posted anything else saying that he was going to be doing another festival, at least on Instagram here.
Oh no, that seems like
to catch him there.
That would be a good festival to go to.
Yeah, so this festival in particular is actually thrown by the same people who put together Bonnaroo. So this is brand new. It's a brand new festival, very first time, first year of this.
I was gonna say that cover art looks like a Bonnaroo style like cover.
Yeah, it definitely matches like the Bonnaroo kind of vibe. So there's definitely a lot of people excited to go to this one as well, especially since it's a city festival, and the price for these tickets are absolutely perfect. It definitely fits the value on the bill. So, yeah. But that's going to be coming up this weekend. Hopefully the hurricane doesn't impact that area too much. I know that it's heading that way. So we'll see what news there is there.
There's a lot of wind gusts outside right now, too, from what I can see over my window. So we're going to get the worst of it momentarily in Florida.
Yeah, it's probably en route right now. I'm actually looking out my window now, and the trees are doing the same thing, kind of whipping around. So it is what it is. We how many hurricanes have we weathered? It's it's just a storm.
I grew up in Florida. It's
same.
You just have to power through it. It's going to last about 6 hours or more, and then a lot of rain and wind.
Yep. Well, just be safe and everything and all that, That's what you got to do. Stay hydrated, keep food in the, dry goods, don't have like refrigerator stuff. So, you know what to do. It's kind of like all part of like the Florida handbook, I feel, that you should get when you move here. Like, watch out for alligators and, cottonmouths and, maybe hurricanes.
Yeah.
But circling back to Bourbon and Beyond, was there any other like highlights, or how was your Sunday? Was your Sunday a lot of fun as well? I mean, you said you got to do the Beach Boys. Did you see any of the other bands, like the indie bands like Mount Joy, or like the War on Drugs, Corey Wong, any of those? Those are really cool bands.
All of the bands on the main stage I was able to see, so I could be wrong. So I did definitely see Mount Joy. I think the War on Drugs played that day. If not, then it was the National, so both of them played. We were watching them all just in order. And it kind of set the vibe for what we were getting ourselves into. Um,
Nice.
I really enjoyed seeing Mountain Joy. I think Mountain Joy is a very funky sound band that I have on my phone. Love seeing them play. But nothing highlighted to Tyler Childers, just
Oh yeah.
because he was the closing night, and his bluegrass style music too that can kick in, apart from his folk stuff, just really set the mood. It
Of
really made me
course.
want to just take off my shoes that I was wearing and just roll up my pants and just start dancing in the mud and grass. Just really vibe into what I was getting myself into.
Yeah. No, I know that he definitely brings out a really cool vibe, and a lot of people love his style of music. I know that he's played Bonnaroo a few times over the years as well, and a lot of people say that his sets are magical, especially
Yeah,
with his talent and what he can do.
he brings out the band and he'll do some acoustic or piano songs, but overall he's just very down to earth person. He seems to care.
Exactly. And I think we need more people like that on these festival bills and stuff, to kind of convey that welcoming kind of Southern charm.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
especially those type of festivals too, it really adds that energy to it.
Excellent. So to wrap up on Bourbon and Beyond and stuff, what would you say? Like, would you return to Bourbon and Beyond again if you had the chance? And who would you want to be on like the lineup if you were to return to Bourbon and
Oh,
Beyond?
I would absolutely go back to it. And if they're gonna do another lineup like that, I feel like they should stick with the folk and country sound that they're going for. Even if Zach Bryan were to make a return there, I wouldn't mind that. And same with Tyler Childers. I feel
Yeah,
like they should maybe headline some of the other bands since they are pretty big themselves. I know Fleet Fox played there. I feel
yeah,
like they
they
should have
did.
had more of a prime spot over what they were playing. Lumineers would be a really good fit for that. Mumford and Sons would be a lot of fun, but they're more so rock nowadays. And even if they were to play like one of their first couple albums, that would still bring in a lot of attention for their music. Stuff
Yeah,
like that could definitely make me want to go back to see them play, and maybe do it a little later in the year so you have more of that fall cold feeling into it.
yeah.
Because it was supposed to be a little cold when we went, but the weather was
It
in
changed.
hot in Florida terms. Because it's not
Yeah,
fucking hot.
yeah,
It was It was in like the mid 80s, which people
yeah.
were complaining about, but
Yep.
I'm like, for Florida, I was like, that's not bad. I was
Yeah.
wearing jeans and stuff, and I was doing great.
Yeah. No, so while I was in Chicago, it was also like 83, 84 for the high. And I was with my good friend who recently moved to Chicago and who I was staying with. And we were hanging out like early in the Saturday morning and stuff before I went to the fest. And we were walking around doing stuff. And he was sweating like a dog. And he's like, "How are you like not dying right now?" I'm like, "Brother, this is not hot.
Yeah,
Like this is comfortable, dude. Like
yeah,
it's
that
it's
weather's
it's been like
great.
115 degrees this summer, like with the heat index and everything, humidity and all, 115 degrees. Like our pepperonis were cooked this summer.
I I went to a Bucks game last year, the season opener when they played Minnesota, and I went
Go
with two of
Bucks.
my friends. Yeah, go Bucks for sure. We won that game too. That was Baker's first game,
Hell
and
yeah.
it was, I want to say, since it's an hour behind too, so kickoff was 12 p.m. because it's an hour behind. So um, it was maybe 77 or 78 outside in the beginning of September. So for it to already be that nice was great. And we were walking outside at one of their interactive tents they had outside of the stadium with my group of friends because we were just trying to burn some time before it opened up. And there's this group of people walking in front of us that said, "I'm working up a sweat in this heat." And I look at my boy and I'm like, "This is hot for them?" I'm like, "It is 77. That's not
Yeah.
bad." And I
Yeah.
pull up Florida's weather where we're at in Wesley Chapel, Tampa area, and I'm like, "It is 92 right now at 11 in the morning
Yeah.
in Florida," and they think that this is hot. Like, what?
Oh my god. Yeah. You're over here like, "Come on, bro. Like quit it. It's fine. You could be a little uncomfortable in this heat. That's okay.
Yeah,
Like this is not uncomfortable."
but yet again, I can't talk because when winter comes and it's like 60 outside, I'm wearing my jacket,
A
sweat,
parka.
and everything. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, you're in a
freezing out
full-on
there in this
parka. You
storm.
got like a beanie on, a scarf, and you're like, "Damn, it's freezing, brother." And you're
Yeah,
like, "What? This is like shorts and polo weather, you know? Like let's go on a boat or something and have some
yeah,
drinks." And we're
yeah.
over here
So,
like, "Nah, we're gonna stay inside."
and they'll get like the negatives up there too. So I'm like, I've never
Oh
been in
yeah,
negative weather, so I can't even
no.
imagine how they brave those colds.
Yeah, literally, that's what my friend was telling me. I was like, dude, how was it this past winter? And he was like, yeah, we hit like negative 15 degrees or something. And that's not even the coldest it gets up here. And I'm like, anything negative sounds absolutely like miserable. I can't even
Oh yeah,
imagine that, dude. I am sorry. I would
yeah.
take being in 115-degree heat any day than being in the negative.
Yeah, that's both are very hard to withstand. Like I've never been in the negatives, but I have been in that 100+ degree weather, and I can tell you that if you just have a lot of water and a lot of like Powerade or Gatorade to replenish your sweat, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just no, don't drink anything sugary, or else you will pass out.
Yep. Yeah, that's
So
just the opposite of what you shouldn't do.
yeah, the best way to go through it.
Exactly. All right. Well, is there anything extra that you'd like to share or express about the Bourbon and Beyond Music Fest that we did not go over by any chance?
Not really much of a share, but more of a recap of it. Was a great time, and I had going with the right group of people made it a lot of fun. Next time I want to make sure I'm there for all 4 days so I can really interact
Get
and
your
enjoy
money's
the
worth.
festival. Yes, and to make sure I want to get there a little earlier, like for whenever the artists start playing, because now that I know those headliners fill up fast, if I really want to get front row for a headliner, I know I can get up there and what I can do to do it. Yet again,
Yeah. No, that's like we were saying before. This was your first music festival. This was your first experience understanding like the logistics and how to get around and just to experience what it even is like. And you're gonna probably have 1,000 thoughts of like I shoulda or I coulda or I would've, and it's like, don't worry about those, man. Like all you
no,
got to do is just be there, be with your friends, have a good idea of like who you want to see, and that's it. Just enjoy it. Like if you're all the way in the back, you're all the way in the back. If you're all the way in the front,
mhm,
you're all the way in the front. If you're in the middle, you're in the middle. Who cares? You're
that was the
there,
point.
you hear it, you see them, you're having a good time.
And I heard music playing, and when it was playing, I just started grooving and dancing because I'm like, I want to feel the energy of this crowd. I want to
Yes.
feel the energy of this festival, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for whatever festival I go to next because I'm going to be doing the same exact thing if I go to it.
Yeah. Let me ask you that. So I know that you follow the podcast and stuff, and you've seen lots of my posts and stuff covering all these different music festivals around America.
Mhm.
Just off of memory, which one would you possibly be interested in going to next as being like your second music festival?
I wouldn't say it's like next. It's prior ones that I wanted to go to. There was the one that the Red Hot Chili Peppers played at in Alabama, or it was where was it? It was in Alabama. And then there's also another one that they had. You may know the name of it. I saw it on your thing. They played in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Um, what is it? I don't know if you know the name of it because it's blanking on my mind. It was last year that I saw it, and I wish I would have
Okay.
went to that one because I think they had the Killers playing there, and it just looked like
Yeah.
it would have been a really good. Are you able to
I
look up
could.
what is it called? I really want to know what it's called because that's the one I was looking at. Where I was like, I want to
The
get
one
tickets
in
to this.
Vegas, that was the one that
Yes,
you're thinking of, and
yes,
it was
or
last year, not this year.
yeah, or they could be doing it again this year, but it was a last year thing. It was in like 2023.
2023, last year. I'm scrolling back. Let's see here. So I'm thinking it's probably Life is Beautiful,
Yes, that's
because
it.
I
That was
think, yeah, because Life is Beautiful is actually happening this weekend as well, coming up.
wait.
Uh, yeah, so they have a really good lineup as well. I really wish I was able to fly out there and make that one.
Let's say who's playing it this year's lineup for them.
So for this year, unfortunately, it's not like a full-on Life is Beautiful, but they're doing like a smaller version called Life is Beautiful Block Party Edition or something. So it's just a
Mhm.
2-day event. But what I like about it is the fact that it's 2 days. It's Saturday and Sunday, and they have no clashing sets. So literally, it leads one band into the next, and it's perfect. Like you're not going to miss anybody on the lineup whatsoever. I think that that's really special that they're doing it like that. To be honest with you,
That is really cool. They have that set up like that. That way
yeah.
you can see everything you want in one, and you don't have to worry about seeing different bands at different times.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just pulled it up here, the new one that's happening this weekend. So yeah, this is this year's lineup. So it's mostly like indie dance kind of music. So you got Justice, Peggy Goo, LCD Sound System, Jamie XX. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
that's
do
very
you listen to
different.
Jamie XX?
I've heard of Peggy Goo and Jungle, heard of what's it called?
Yeah, back on 74.
Thundercat. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of those I've heard of those. They're very, yeah, it's a very like indie and somewhat electronic sound in a way too. Very
Yeah.
different.
No, it's very like 2000s indie kind of music into like 2010s indie music, I would say too. And I love this lineup only because like that music is a lot of fun to just get together and have like a good time with some amazing people who just really enjoy like deep. It's kind of like a deeper kind of eclectic taste for this type of lineup and stuff. And I think it's
Mm,
interesting that they went with this style of lineup compared to last year's. Right? You were saying how it was like the Killers and Red Hot Chili
yeah,
Peppers and whatnot. So again, that's like some top 40s kind of stuff that we're discussing from last year's. To this is a little more niche, and there's like some more interesting acts that have some different tastes, so like James Blake being on there, that's pretty big. If you've never listened to him before, I highly recommend him to go check him out. He's got an awesome sound with his
yeah. Like I said,
pianos and
I
whatnot.
love listening to new music. I want to always have as many different options as possible. I don't like being stuck to one genre.
Yeah.
It's,
I would say if I was to recommend a music festival to you, I would say Bonnaroo is definitely the holy grail of all music festivals. If you really want a full true blue experience where you're partying 24/7 around the clock, that is Bonnaroo. Like you can get there as early as Monday, and the festival doesn't even technically start until Thursday. So you can be there for over a week and just be partying for that long. It's insane.
oh, that sounds
So
awesome, and there's probably good energy there too.
oh yeah, yeah. The energy is unmatched. Like there is no other music festival out there that matches it by any means. It used to be Firefly, but unfortunately, I think they just recently hit the festival graveyard after this year, so
I
they're
was
no
say,
longer around.
what festival or event came up that they just canceled out of nowhere?
There's been a few actually that have come up and then they canceled.
It's also another thing where you have so many what's it called, saturated music festivals that like some of them can't even pan out because of you just go to another one now.
Yes, yeah. I believe one of them that almost got canceled was actually Halloween. Halloween was almost canceled this year. I'm trying to think of which one it was because there's been a few. There's been a few that have been canceled after this year. I know Firefly was a big one. That one really hurt me because I went to that one in 2017, and that music festival was very special and honestly was. Oh, this one. Here you go. So this one was announced. It's a brand new music festival. It's supposed to take place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, called Sudden Little Thrills, with the
Mm,
Killers headlining and SZA as well, with Wiz Khalifa on his birthday hometown set. Insane. I love that. And yeah, they came, announced, and then disappeared. Like they were just like, nope, it's not happening. So
damn,
I'm like,
what's
wow.
the ticket thing if they didn't want to, they couldn't do that.
So they basically said it was a few things. They believe like ticket sales weren't moving fast enough for like pre-sale to be able to get this off the ground. They also blamed like production costs and logistic tour kind of stuff. So if the bands are gonna be a lot of money and they're trying to go from one side of the United States to another side, like let's say like the Killers are playing in Vegas on September 6th on that Friday, and they need to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Saturday the 7th. They have to incorporate that into the cost, right, for them to be booked, and that price has to be covered for them to move them and their production crew all the way to Pittsburgh in one night and get everything
Yeah,
together and throw
to
this
get
on.
everything
So
covered up.
Exactly. So they were saying there was a lot of logistical issues and there was a lot of cost issues. And with the low sales in pre-sale, they were just not justified, and they decided to totally just kill the dream right then and there. This festival is actually going to be thrown by, if I'm not mistaken, it's the other group that runs Bonnaroo, because there's two groups that run Bonnaroo. It's C3 and someone else. I forget the other group off the top of my head, but I believe it's C3 that was going to throw this festival together in Pittsburgh, and they decided it just wasn't going to happen this year. And I think
Hmm.
what happened is that they decided to not go with this, and they went with South Star instead. The other one that I just showed you a moment ago with Beck on it, that's happening this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So they went all hands on deck on that festival over this one because ticket sales were better. So that's just the name of the game,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's just
for
how it's
how
been
it
going
runs.
lately.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah, Adam, my man, any other things you would like to add last minute on
Yeah,
this episode?
just saying that love watching your podcast and can't wait for future episodes and other festival or artist dates to drop to keep me updated on everything. Something I'm really fortunate for.
Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it. And, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears goes into making sure I'm up to date on everything. And I appreciate those kinds words, and keep supporting the podcast and everything like that as well. And I hope to be able to go to a festival or a show with you sometime in the near future. I think we'd have a really good time. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love to plan one of those together whenever an opportunity comes for a festival that we could both say, heck yeah, let's go to it.
Epic, man. All right.
Hmm.
Well, I think that's going to do it today for this episode of Crispy Reviews Podcast on Bourbon and Beyond Music Festival. Thank you again so much, Adam, for coming on and sharing your experiences and the artists who you were able to see, and giving us a whole dissected deep dive of how everything went in the festival. It was wonderful. So
Yeah,
remember to like, follow, comment, share, all those fun things that we all have to do to be able to express ourselves on the internet, I guess you could say. So,
all that stuff.
and again, we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah,
Ciao.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank, yeah, thank you for having me too.
You're more than welcome, Adam. Thank you so much.